Right. All right. I'm here, and I was just waiting for more people to come into the live stream so I could talk about the last 3 months because it's been hell, and I want to. I feel like explaining my whole story of everything I've gone through and why things happened the way that they did would really help. Even though I don't want to talk about it, it's quite traumatizing, the different things that happened back in December. Um, and when I talk about the things that happened, I'm not talking about these things happening with the quote unquote victims that are saying they're victims in situations that they're not victims of. Um, but I'm talking about the things that happened to me right before all of this started happening on Twitter and YouTube and all this type of stuff. Just giving a little rundown of like the full thing of what was going on. And even though I don't feel safe, like I feel like my life is in jeopardy explaining all of this. Um, Not because of little kids online believing anything they hear, but because of the gravity of the things that happened to me. So but I feel like it is a story that is absolutely crazy. Um, and so I want to go into basically the beginning of December and or go into November. I'm going to go back to November. So in November, I was supposed to meet up with a friend of mine named Jasmine. You might know Jasmine as Nay on Twitter. We were going to meet up. We had numerous calls on video call, talking to each other and getting to know each other more. We have been friends since 2019. Things were going good. I kind of like had, not kind of, I really was like liking her, and I felt like she was really good, pretty cool and shit like that. And so I was like, you know, maybe we could like have something happen because she lived in the United States. I had known her for a while. Like it wasn't like I hate when people say that, oh, Akira talks to fans and manipulated them. All these people were once my friends, and I had known a lot of them for like a long time period. It wasn't like these situations were happening with people, or these stories that are not true were happening with people that, oh, we just had like 5 conversations. Having a screenshot of one part of a conversation or having a screen recording of an audio clip that was one out of like however many I sent before does not show proof that someone is a predator or that someone is a manipulator. But we're gonna get into all of this right now because I'm about to tell the T on everything because I can't stand this situation anymore. I tried to make those 2 minute, not 2 minute, those two 40-minute videos and shit like that, but it was just like, you know what? If I go live and have the live up and stuff like that, I can have this all resolved. It's gonna be a long live because I have so much to explain, so much to go through, and I believe that with me telling the whole story of all these stories, you can't say that I'm making it up or that I'm lying when I have so much information to talk about. I can't prove different things. Like I can't prove like that the fake accounts are fake, but I can tell you the story of like all the things that I did with this woman because the first situation I'm going to talk about is Nay on Twitter. Nay on Twitter is a liar, real name Jasmine, and it is a liar. And so I'm going to go into how we met, how we met in real life, and the situations that happened, and you can decide whether or not you believe me or not. But I feel like having so much more substance to a story and to what happened and stuff like that makes so much more because you actually have someone talking about it and saying exactly what happened. This is my side of the story. This is the real story because I have no reason to lie. I have no reason to make anything up. The only reason why I've been saying they're lying is because I know they're lying. And I didn't, okay, and I'm going to get into why I came back on YouTube the way I did, what was going on. I have a lot in my mental that was going crazy. But first I want to get back into why I came on YouTube the way I did when I first had all these things going on. So I just should I explain that part first so it makes sense? I just gotten out of jail for going into this person's house having schizophrenia. My voices in my head were telling me to go in there. I didn't steal anything. I didn't take anything. They basically called the cops. The cops had me in jail for about 2 weeks, or police had me in jail for about 2 weeks for quarantine reasons and stuff like that. And that's basically what had happened. I would have been out sooner if it weren't for the whole coronavirus and quarantine. They had me in there for about 2 weeks, and they said I could get out on time served. So that happened December 18th. I went live that day to prove it. That earlier that day, I seemed to be in a good condition in my head. I'm going to explain the events of what happened with that, but I have to explain literally what happened 5 days before that, because so much was going on in my life, and the jail thing was like the icing on the cake. And I feel like after hearing all of this, you should be able to understand my perspective. You should be able to understand why I came back the way I did and what was going on in my head. There's still a possibility that some of these things could be true, like that, like I couldn't have. There's a possibility that I wasn't just tripping out, that there were actually people gunning for me, whether it was spiritually, physically, mentally, all different types of attacks, and that was without just having all this shit happening on the internet. And so, going back to the story with Jasmine Nay, I'm going to explain the days we hung out together. I'm going to explain how it happened, this true story, and all that. And it's going to be long, so I'm going to try to condense most of it, but you should be able to understand the whole concept of what happened and how things happened the way they did. So me and Jasmine have been friends since like around 2019, beginning of the year. We were good friends and stuff like that. We didn't talk that much. It was more so like, hey, you're awesome, thank you, like, you know, I really appreciate that type of messages. You know, we would talk sometimes where we'd have like conversations about like a post I made, or like I would like comment something back on hers, be like, oh, you're beautiful, or oh, like I liked what you posted, or like stuff like that. It wasn't really like getting to know each other on a personal level. We didn't get to start knowing each other on a personal level until around October-ish and beginning of November. So imagine having a close friend, or a person, not really a close friend, but a friend that like, you know, I could like message her at any time and it wouldn't be weird, because we had so many conversations in our DM where it's like we had a connection, but we just didn't like, you know each other personally. We never had like a call or did anything like to get to know each other. And so basically, when I found out that she was coming out to California, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, that would be like, I'm in quarantine. There's nothing to do. Like, a friend of mine that I consider a friend is coming out to California. Of course, I want to meet them. Like, and she was saying that she was okay with doing that. I found out that she was coming to California back around July or June-ish of last year. So it was a long time period of like knowing, oh, you know, there's a chance that she said that she was coming out to California. It'd be cool to like meet up and like get to know her and everything. Like I get to know a friend and stuff like that. I wasn't thinking of anything wrong or anything bad or anything of this type of nature. What's crazy is a year ago, I have to tell this because of like all the slander, because I need everyone to know the truth about Nay. So Nay, which is basically Jasmine. So basically, last year I had a friend named Jerry and other friends that were a part of my music group that I was together in, and it was called POD. Our group was called POD, which meant pouring out dreams. And basically, Jerry had told me one night, he was like, hey B, do you know Jasmine? Because Jasmine had followed practically everyone in my music group. She followed Andrew on the beats. She followed my friend Jordan Air Million. She followed Jerry. She followed Young Blacks. She followed everybody on my group. And so, like, at the time, I'm working at Disneyland. I'm doing all these type of things. I'm not really like worried or like concerned about Jasmine. She was just a close, like, not like I keep saying close friend because she wasn't at one point last year, but she was a friend of mine that I was like, oh, you know, she's cool. She seems like she's nice and everything. Why, like I'm not like tripping off of what he ends up telling me basically. So he's like, yeah, be like, she's cool and everything, but she followed me on this other account. And I'm like, she followed you on this other account? And he was like, yeah, it's like this 18 plus roleplay account that she has where she's posting these explicit pictures of herself. And I'm like, what? That's crazy, because maybe like 2 months prior to that, last year, she had told me that she liked me, and that, oh no, actually, she didn't tell me that she liked me. Jerry told me that she told her, that she told him that she liked me. And so I was like, oh, like, well, I'm not going to bring this up with her because I didn't want her to be like, oh, I can't believe like Will's best friend told him that I like him, which was true. Jerry told me that this happened. And so I was like, oh, well, like, I don't want to, what's the word? I don't want to bring this up with her. I don't want to make it a big scene. Like, she likes me. I didn't have any romantic feelings back to her at that time. And this was told to me back 2019. The events that she's talking about, or how she was talking about me and stuff, happened in 2020 at the end of the year, and none of it was true. I'm explaining the full story of our friendship so you can understand that she lied about everything. So she ended up like being, so I ended up finding out all that shit, like about her having that 18 plus account and shit. And then she basically followed practically all of my team and shit like that. And I didn't have any problem with it because like I didn't like her romantically. He was telling me, he was honestly like, I don't know. It was the whole mess. It was like a messy situation, but I had nothing to do with with this shit. And so basically, like, he ended up telling me, oh, like, she had this account, she followed us on it, just wanted you to know that. And like, or how it happened was she followed. I know I'm trying to remember how it goes down so I can explain the right story. So she followed all of them on Take Me Neverland. That's her Instagram account. She followed them all on Take Me Neverland. And then after following all of them, she had made another account, or she had another account that was 18 plus, and she had followed my friend Jordan. And so Jordan told Jerry, hey, like, Jasmine has this other account that she has, and she's posting like all these pictures of her and stuff, and stuff like that. Jerry ends up telling me this and following that account and seeing it himself. So that's how that story goes down. So she had this whole 18 plus account. She was following all my freaking friends. This is back in 2019. So going forward after 2019, me and Jasmine, Nay on Twitter, we started talking like on video calls back again, like around October, November-ish. But we already talked about meeting up and getting to like hang out and stuff back in like June-ish like time. So we had already talked about this type of stuff. So now I was just like, okay, let me get to know her before she comes out here, because I don't want to like meet someone and then like not really know them. And she seemed like such a great person. And we had so many different like conversations before where I'm like, you know what, like, this would be cool. Like, we should have a video call and like actually talk and stuff like that. And so we did. We talked on the phone, and it was going great, and it was going great, and it was going good. But basically, like, nothing bad happened on the calls. I was meeting her mom. I was like hearing about her stories of working and stuff like that. I was telling her my stories, what was going on with me. Most of the time, whenever I talked to anybody last year, and I can vouch for this with my fucking life, it was about either coronavirus, the pandemic, different things in the world like child trafficking and human trafficking and all this type of stuff. You can go on my freaking TikTok and see my most early videos are me talking about what's going on in the world and child abuse and all these type of things. You can even go on my TikTok and see this. And so going back to like Jasmine and stuff, like, most of the time I was a worrywart. Like, if I could apologize for anything to these people, it would be that I projected a lot of my own problems onto them, because there'd be a lot of times where I felt overwhelmed, and I felt like, who do I go to, who do I talk to about what's going on in my head and the anxiety that I'm having. And I would go to a lot of these people and I would talk to them about it, but never in a way where I was like manipulating them and stuff like that, or like anything like that. They openly listened to whatever I had to say about what was going on and what I was worried about. And it was that, like, I would listen to them when they have problems too. It was a mutual type of thing. But I would just apologize for always going to them, well, I feel like, when I was sad. Because whenever I would go to them, it would be when I was in a moment of darkness, or I was in a moment where I wasn't really thinking clearly. Never saying anything bad to them, but when I say not thinking clearly, like I was very depressed. And so a lot of our calls would be depressing. They would be very, very like, this guy is worried about everything. And I wish he would just like stop calling me only to talk about what he's worried about and have more of like us talking about good things. That's one thing I would apologize for. I'm sure there's something else I'm going to end up apologizing for. But that was one thing about a lot of the calls. It would be like me talking about different things that were bothering me. But so, and what I should have done was get therapy and go get help and stuff like that back then. But it wasn't something that I was thinking that anyone could really help me with or would like understand. And so going back to what was going on after I met Jasmine. So I ended up meeting Jasmine. The first day I meet her, I go to the hotel room that she's staying in, or the hotel she's staying in. She's staying there with like 3 friends. It's 2 guys, and she had ended up telling me back before she came, because we didn't like say like, oh, we like each other or anything like that back on the phone calls before we met. But she did tell me like, oh, I have 2 guys coming out here with me though, and like they both like me. And I'm like, they both like you? Like, and one of them was like her super, super close friend. And so there was those 2 guys and then this other lady. So they basically end up coming out here. I go to the hotel and I meet them. One of the dudes that was like, I guess like crazy. She said that like he liked her back a long time ago, and he still had feelings for her, or he still has feelings for her and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, how we're talking on the video calls and how we've been talking and stuff like that, it feels like this could be going somewhere. Why would you like decide to bring 2 guys that consciously like you on a trip? Like it was literally like messing with my head, because I didn't know where we were standing or where we stood or like how things were going to go, but I was still willing to see like just go with the flow and see what happens type of thing. And so when I get over there, we play different games like Uno and stuff like that. She ended up giving me a genie plush and a notebook. She got me like gifts and stuff like that. It was really cool and really sweet. And this was like the first day. She was staying out here for like 5 or 6 days. And so on this day, it was cool. We were hanging out. We were like, I got the other guy, Thailand, was seemingly nice and everything and stuff like that. So I didn't really have a problem with him. What ended up being like a problem was because I felt like she was sending me all these mixed signals and mixed signs that oh, I like you, but then not really like saying it. Both of us weren't saying it, but she was being very like flirtatious in the things that she was doing, the outfits that she was wearing. I walk in there into the hotel room and she's in there without a bra on, with her shirt on. And this is my first time meeting her. Like there was so much shit that like happened in the first like few days I met her that had me be like, I don't know what to do. Like I don't know how to like process this person and what's going on. And so, because in my head I'm thinking maybe we could be in a relationship, maybe something could happen, but then like, let me just tell you what happens the next day. So after that ends up going down, I invited her to come over if she wanted to like watch a movie and come like see Hercules. So we were gonna go watch the movie Hercules and watch the movie Aladdin, the live action. So this was after I have pictures of us hanging out, of us taking this picture where like we ended up going to this restaurant, we dined out, had some food, it was cool. After the food and everything like that, one of the guys literally left that day back to I don't remember what state she's from, but left back home because he was so upset that she was out here and like talking to me and stuff like that. Not talking to me, flirting like crazy. Like she wasn't like saying, "Oh, Will, I love you," and this and that. But like he knew that she liked me. That's why he was getting all angsty and mad and stuff like that. So he left. The dude literally left the next day and said peace. And so, like, and this is like when I came to the restaurant for us to go eat, because it was all 5 of us, and it was my first time meeting her friend, and then all of us being there, and he left. And so that night, now this is the important part where I want you guys to know this part. You have to know what happened this night, what happened the next after that. That kind of led me down this kind of road where I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to talk to this girl anymore. I don't think I really want to be in a relationship with her and all types of stuff. And so someone said that I'm getting lost. I'm gonna upload this live stream so that everyone can like see this and have the full story of everything, where like I've explained it the best I could, all the stories that I know I'm aware of, and explaining my story of what happened to me. And so going back to that night, basically she comes over. I'm trying to look at the comments. She comes over and I'm like, yo, this is cool. Like, we're gonna watch like Hercules and let's see like how it goes. So we're watching the movie, and keep in mind, I did like her. I never told her that until like, but I was sending that night. I was sending signs that like, oh, you know, like I do like you and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm a very nervous pussy type guy. Like I don't like, what's the word? I don't confess my feelings to people like that. Like I just don't do that. Like it's just not my character. It's not me. And so basically, we're watching the movie. We're not cuddling at this point. We're not doing anything like that. We're just watching the movie. And my first time watching Hercules too. And so after we watch the movie, like we get up, I'm like looking up Aladdin. She comes over. She's wearing a pink. I can tell you literally what she's wearing and everything. She's wearing a pink top and this other and pink freaking shorts. I don't know if that even fucking matters. But fucking like she comes up to me. She brushes her like breast against my arm, and I'm just like, whoa, okay, that was out of nowhere. I go and press play on Aladdin. We sit back down on the couch, and this moment, I do ask if she wants to cuddle. And so I put like she says yes. I put my arm around her, like on like her shoulder area, and we're sitting there watching the movie. And this is the most awkward, craziest thing that happens. So we're watching the movie and shit, and she gets a text. Now remember, the guy's name is Thailand, okay? The guy's name that's there, his name is Thailand. She gets a text. I look down at the phone, just like glancing, and it says Daddy Thailand with a heart on the freaking contact name. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm thinking to myself like, okay, like we're cuddling right here and she has this guy's contact name, Daddy Thailand with a heart. So I'm like, what's going on? And they were close friends, you know what I mean? They were close friends and all that type of stuff. And so I'm like, you're close friends with this guy. She was like feeling on his arm. We were walking out the room the night before to get Italian ice cream and stuff like that. She was doing the most, and she was trying to make me jealous of all of this so that I could just be like, oh, I like you. I don't, and then she would stop doing those things. And so I was just like, but then after I saw the Daddy Thailand with the heart, literally my face, my whole attitude just got shot. I was just like, okay, we're sitting there, I still have my arm around her, but I'm just like, how do I even like react after seeing something like that? And so I end up continuing watching the movie with her, and then after that, like she goes back to the hotel and everything, but I'm in a horrible mood. Never dreading to do anything to her, never said, I had no words to say. I was sitting there like, okay, that's crazy. I can't believe she has this guy's name, Daddy Thailand, with a heart, bruh. And this guy's out here. Like, this guy's literally out here. He's staying at the hotel. Like, he's staying at the hotel with her, regardless of whether or not she had her friend and everything. He's staying at that hotel with her. So what do you think I'm thinking after seeing that? Like, I'm thinking this girl's trying to play me. And so after that happens, the next day, I don't even ask to hang out. She asks me if I want to hang out again. And so I'm like, okay, bro, I'm in quarantine. There's nothing to do. Even though it feels like this girl tried to play me and I still kind of like have feelings for her, I'm gonna just see how it goes. Maybe like I can like bring it up to her at some point and be like, why do you have the guy's name? Like, are you guys a thing or is something happening with you guys? So we go and hang out again. And actually, this time I think I bring up, I like, no, wait, no. This time we hang out, we go, this is the next day. So this time we hang out, I go over to the hotel again. We're like playing Uno and playing games, shit like that, and like and everything. She's drunk, super drunk, and like her friend ends up leaving, and I find it like I thought, okay, it's been 2-3 hours since I've been here. I really want to talk to her like about everything, but it was the wrong time to be able to talk to her because she was like wasted like crazy. And so we go outside the hotel. I'm talking to her about everything, and then she's telling me like, oh, I like you, and you know, but I'm like the type where you have to take me on a date and this and that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like if that's how you want to be with everything, I respect that. And so like I'm not gonna go into all the stuff that happened that night. Nothing happened crazy. We were literally inside the hotel room. The Thailand guy was there the whole time, and then like we walked outside the hotel room in the patio like area of inside the hotel room like area. And so when we were talking and everything, she was talking about, oh, you know, like it would be cool to move in, like move. She was talking about moving out together and stuff like that, but with Thailand. She was like, oh, we should move out together and everything. But and then she was bringing out how like her family like really likes Thailand, and he's like a stepbrother to her or something like. But it was just kind of weird because I was like, you know, I have friends, but I don't like call any of my friends that like are like that seem like family, daddy Thailand. No one. I've never had daddy or mommy anyone in my fucking contact name for my friends. And then like brought that person out to see a guy that I supposedly like or could potentially like and be interested in, because she was obviously interested. If she's saying, oh, like if you would like me, like let's go on a date. So this is what happens. I end up leaving that night. The next day I text her and I say, hey, would you go out with me? Would you go on a date with me? This is day 4. So she says yes. We're supposed to go to Orange, the mall, the block, and just have like a little date, go get food and everything and stuff like that. And so on that day, we're there and everything. I'm fast forward. I'm going crazy in my mind. On that day, we're supposed to meet up and everything, and she tells me, oh, you know, actually, like my friend has this friend who wants to show her around LA and everything. Would it be cool if you come along with us and we just go like see sights and stuff like that in LA? I already live in California. I've already seen sights in California. Like the only reason why I end up going is like I'm like screw it. Like I might as well go. And so while we're hanging out and stuff like that, I'm still thinking about the whole Daddy Thailand in the phone and like the Daddy Thailand and stuff like that. So anytime I see them like super close or like talking like crazy in my mind, I'm low-key getting jealous. I'm like, okay, I don't know if she's saying she likes me, but I don't know if that's true with this Thailand dude and all this stuff that's going on. And so we're in the car, and I'm thinking that this is our date. I think because I asked her out on a date, you know, I'm thinking that, okay, I guess our date now is just us being together with like these guys. And so I asked her if she wanted to kiss, and then she said that to wait off on that because we were with everyone else and everything. And so I was like, okay, yeah, dumb move. Should have made the move right then and there. But that's I'm telling you the true story. I'm telling you the dumb shit I did. And then the way that all this shit, like the way that the accusations don't make any sense or are not true. And so after I asked that, the dude Thailand is like laying up on her, like while we're staying in it, while we're in the back seat of the car, and it's just sitting all these dots. I made that move because I was like, if I don't make a move now, I don't know like when I'll have a chance to. I don't know if like Thailand's trying to make moves right now too. Like I didn't know what to do, and so after after like after that stuff happens and everything like that, we end up going like back into the hotel room, chilling for a little bit, and then I go home. The next day, I think she ends up asking me if I want to hang out one more time, and I'm like, well, I don't know what you want to do or where you want or how you want things to go. So we end up hanging out at my house again and then watching another movie. And so we're like, before we watch the movie, we already had the whole conversation about dating and all this type of stuff. And so we're in there, we're sitting on the couch, and she's telling me, so, like, this might be your first time being with a real woman if we date. And I'm like, well, okay, a real woman, all right. And then she's telling me, have you done about getting a 9-to-5 or working like a 9-to-5 job? And I'm like, no, I have Patreon, and I'm not going to like stop doing something I've like worked so hard on and get a 9-to-5 job. I could already see where it was going. I felt like she was saying, I'm not comfortable with you doing Patreon. You should get a job, like a 9-to-5, a real job outside of that. I mean, Patreon is a job, but like saying, you know what I mean, like getting like a job somewhere else. And so I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen. But the way she was talking to me was so like stern and very like, which was respectable, but I'd never been in a situation like that before. And so we're sitting there and like, I'm thinking to myself, should I bring up the whole thing with Thailand? Like I don't even after seeing the Daddy Thailand thing, I never brought up like the whole thing with Thailand because I don't do good with conversation. I am terrible at confronting people and terrible when it comes to people confronting me because I just don't like drama. I don't like being involved in beef and having like all different types of things happening. I'm sorry I'm missing my words and stuttering it. It's so much to explain. I'm explaining all of this so you know the history of what happened with me and Jasmine, aka Nay on Twitter. So you know that all the shit that she said on Twitter is a lie. And so basically after this shit happens, like we talk about dating and whether or not we should. She says after she leaves, we kiss on the couch. After she leaves and everything, I get a text from my friend Lulu, and she's telling me, hey, Will, because I only told Lulu about the situation. I told her, like, yo, I don't know what to do. She's kind of, like, being sketchy with how she's, like, having this guy named Thailand here and this other guy here, and then she has the guy's name, Daddy Thailand, with a heart on her phone contact, and I see that their connection is super close. So I don't know, like, how they are. I was only seeing what I was seeing there. Like, guys, imagine, like, what potentially could have happened while they were in the hotel when I wasn't there. Like, you know what I mean? I had all these different thoughts in my head. And so I'm like, all right, for sure. I just need to like talk to someone about it. So I talked to Lulu about it. So she texted me that day and she's like, hey, did you hear that Jasmine told me that you guys were dating? And I'm like, whoa. She's like already going and telling people that like we're dating, like, and telling my close friends that. Like, I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then she's like, yeah, I was just curious to know if that was true because I remember what you were telling me about like what happened between you guys and how you didn't really know if you could trust her and everything like that. And so I was like, yeah, like this kind of rings alarming because I'm just like, why is she going around? This was like 6 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And like, I'm getting this text from Lulu because she literally like, I guess right after leaving told her that. And I was just like, okay, I need to like talk to her in the morning about this and I need to talk to her about the whole Thailand thing. So this day literally is the last day that I'm in contact with her while she's out here. And this is day 5. No, day 4, day 5. This is day 6 because she was here November 17th to November 23rd. And so on this day, we're supposed to hang out. I'm kind of like, nah, I don't really want to because she was like posting videos of her again, like really close with the Thailand guy, and I was just like, and it wasn't like when she was here the day before, we were like making out or doing anything crazy. Like we kissed, like that was all. Like, we kissed, and that was practically it. We cuddled, kissed, and that's it. And so it wasn't like, oh, we had sex, or we like were doing something sexual. Like it was nothing like that. And so the next day we're on the phone, and I'm just like, oh, actually, okay. I go hang out with my friend Louise. You can even ask him. Ask him. I go and hang out with my friend Louise at the beach, and I'm explaining to him all this, and he's like, bro, it feels like you're getting played. Like, I don't know, like, you should talk to her about it. I get a message, but from this random account, which I'm believing was her friend that was there, saying, hey, if you're going to be in a relationship with this girl, like my friend, like Jasmine, like, just know that, like, her closeness with this Thailand guy is not going to go away. Like, they've been friends for so long, and they're going to be close like that, like, she's not going to, like, stop being close to him after being with you. And so I get that message before we end up calling. I'm just like, I have all of my guts and intuition that this is the girl that was hanging out with us telling me this. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to just call her and tell her, and not tell her, well, ask her, like, why did you do these things? And then tell me why. So I'm on the phone with her, and I'm like, hey, like, did you, like, tell Lulu that we were, like, dating and stuff like that? And she was like, yeah, like, I did. I'm sorry. Was I, like, moving too fast with doing that? And I was like, I mean, kind of. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, you're, like, she was, like, trying to tell my close friends all this type of stuff. And so, like, after that, I'm like, also, I just wanted to, like, bring up, like, how you are with Thailand. And then she's like, okay. So, first, why, if you liked me, which she told me that she had liked me prior to coming out there, if you liked me, why would you bring two guys that are grown men, just like us, are grown-ups, just like us, like, I'm saying grown-ass men, like these guys, like, know, like, she knows that they, like, we could get in a fight, is what I'm trying to say when I say that. We could get in a fight, just be altercations and all that type of shit. Why would you bring two men that, like, you know, that like you, to meet a guy that you potentially like and are trying to date? And then she's like, oh, so basically, like, you know, I don't know, like, that was kind of stupid of me to do. And like, you know, I didn't really think that they were going to react that way. I'm like, you told me that they like you. If you told me that they like you, would any of you guys bring two people that like you to go meet someone that you like? No one does that. No one would do that. And it wasn't like these guys were like, oh, I like you, but, like, I'm not going to like, get in the way of this and that. Like, they were not putting their feelings aside. These guys were obviously, like, still trying to make moves at her. And so after I bring up that, she's, like, kind of, like, beating around the bush and not, like, answering questions. I asked her, like, why did you have the Thailand's name, Daddy Thailand, in the phone? She's like, oh, I had a Daddy Thailand in the phone because, like, that's just, like a thing that, like, I call him and stuff like that. Like, it's nothing serious and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, it made me uncomfortable seeing that while, like, I'm wrapping my arm around you and we're like, cuddling. Like, I just, like, if that were me, like, I wouldn't have had that daddy. I wouldn't, okay, like, for example, if I was meeting someone and I went out to go see them, I would, if, like, there was something like that I had, I would instantly get rid of that and not have that contact name. Because why would I have that still? Like, why would I have that contact name? Well, that's like me and her cuddling, and then I get a text from, like, someone, and it says, mommy, this person, with a heart. Like, do you know how much she would have, like, tripped out on me if she saw that? But I'm not a person to get, like, yelling at someone or to do something so I get shy around that type of stuff. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle that situation and so forth. And so after that, I basically, like, was fed up. I didn't yell at her on the phone. I was just like, hey, I need some time away from this because I need to really think about what happened what happened during the time we were out here and so forth. And maybe, like, I could maybe we can, like, work things out in the future or something like that. But really, I was mad. Like, I literally just hung up the phone. Like, that's how mad I was at the whole situation because it just felt like she was lying to me. And so a week or two passed. She makes these poems on her Instagram account that were about me. She even says, okay, you guys know the video I posted that says audio of 𝒱𝒃𝒹𝑒𝑜 lying on Twitter? She posted those poems on on Instagram, and deleted them. The poems are gone now. But she was talking about how she felt like she was in heaven being around me, how it was so good, and like, like in the poem saying these like, oh, I messed up things, and I should have like been known better, I should have done this and that, and like just all this type of stuff. But now she deletes the poems, right? And so I go and I respond to the poems, sending her a voice message saying, hey, like I saw the videos, or not the videos, fuck, I'm trying to explain this so fast. I saw the poems you posted in the notes of them on Instagram. They were really good poems and everything. Like, I just don't know how to respond to what happened like when you were out here. And so she's like, okay, like she's like apologizing still for what happened and seeing if we could like start talking again as friends and repatch everything, because we had stopped talking as friends for like a good 2 weeks after that, because I was just mad about the whole situation. And so we stopped talking for about a good 2 weeks, and then that's when you see the audio I posted of the audio of 𝒱𝒃𝒹𝑒𝑜 lying, because basically none of the things that she said on Twitter is true. None of those things ever happened. None of the accusations that she's making is true. I just told you the full story of what happened, and then it go down the way that she said. And so basically, like after she sends me those like voice messages, I send her a voice message saying like, I just don't know what to say. Like, I just don't know how to respond. Like, what am I supposed to say after all that stuff that happened? And like my mind's like, I purposely stay away from relationships because I don't like to be in situations where I could be jealous, or where I have to think about whether or not this girl is going to like cheat on me or talk to another guy while I'm in a relationship with her and stuff like that. That's purposely why I don't get into relationships. That's purposely why I haven't been in one or in a long time, because of the thing of like shit that happened back to me when like in my last relationship that I really like. The shit that happened to me in my last relationship that I really cherished makes me very scared to be in another relationship with someone, or to make things go further than what they are. And so that's why I was like, okay, like to have this happen with her and to have it happen like recently, it was just like, how do I even process all of this? So now we're going to get into some really juicy, paranormal, crazy, supernatural stuff that happened to me that led into December, that led into the first time she ends up posting those Twitter things. And I know that like it's going to be hard to believe these things, but you can't say that I'm making it up because I'm talking on the spot. So basically, December and November, things were going good. I like, even despite the whole thing with her and that situation, things were going good for me. I was making TikTok videos a lot. I ordered some new furniture. I was starting to do more cosplays. I was like having a good time, just trying to live the best of my life during that time period. But then things took a drastic turn one night. And so basically, I was talking to a friend, and he ended up sending me a video of Donald Trump. Like, all this stuff I'm going to tell you is going to sound crazy. And I feel like my life, I never told the full story of all of this because I thought people aren't going to believe me, what I went through and like what happened and stuff like that. But I have to. I feel like even in general, like it's just a interesting and compelling story of all the things that happened. So, as you guys know, you guys may or not know, but December 21st of last year was supposed to be a great conjunction of Jupiter conjoining with Saturn. Saturn is a planet of limitations and limiting people and restrictions, whereas Jupiter is more of a planet of free will and love and all these types of stuff. So basically, our planet was supposed to have a huge shift, and I was looking forward to it all of December, all the beginning of December, until what ended up happening to me. I'm a very like looking into the occult, looking into like different things about like spiritual and supernatural and all different types of stuff like that. The things I'm about to tell you that happened to me, I can show proof of me being in jail. I can show proof of that. Look at this. That's me. This happened December 18th. Look at the date. December 18th, jail holding cell. And I did not get out until January 6th, the same day where the riots were happening and the what's it called? The riots at the Senate and everything like that. They said it looks fake. Okay, hold on. How is it fake with the date, the booking number I had in Newport Police Department? It's not fake. So I'm gonna explain what happened, all the supernatural stuff, and what went down. I didn't go to jail for like doing any crazy crime or anything like that. I'm gonna explain what happened and so forth. And so, why am I shaking? Because I have anxiety. It's okay. So now back to what I was talking about. Things started taking a crazy turn after my friend sends me a video of Donald Trump. And this is all during the time where I'm having a spiritual awakening and I'm opening my third eye. So I look at the video and look up the video. Donald Trump speaks on Elon Musk. And it's a video where he's talking to this interviewer and he's talking about how there's important people in the world that you have to protect and stuff like that. And while I'm watching the video, it looks like when he looks at the camera, my subconscious and my mind was saying, he's looking at you. He's talking to you. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm like flipping out thinking like, because that's the first time I had seen a video where the person who was in the video looks at the camera. And so I'm like, okay, what's going on? And so I go look at the video. Go look at the video. You will even say him looking at the camera like that was so odd. The reason why my friend ends up telling me this or sending me this video is because I was trying to figure out what was going to happen at the end of the year. Like I was thinking like different biblical terms and biblical things might end up happening. And so much ended up happening. Like it's crazy. That's why I feel scared for my life even explaining this stuff, because I don't know. I feel like some of these things really did happen and it wasn't just me tripping out. This video was sent to me December 9th. After that happens, my whole like recommendations on YouTube changes from having it be whatever I was recommended to videos of people point of view looking at me. I go on my Instagram and it's like all the videos and pictures I'm like hearing voices, do the pictures, do the videos. I'm hearing differently what's being said in the video. I'm hearing something completely different in my head, which is called schizophrenia. And I have the pill, like I'm taking it, I don't know how to pronounce the name of it, but I'm taking this medicine now because of it. It's for schizophrenia. Trying to block out most of it. You can hear the pills and all that. And so basically, you know what? I'm not even going to get into like all the crazy events that happened because I don't feel safe explaining all that. But it was basically in my head, I was hearing things saying that like the world was going to end, that things were going to get crazy with the coronavirus, that like the coronavirus was like was going to be doing this and that, like freaking that there was demons and that these people are demons, that this person's a demon, this person's a demon. And so I start having massive anxiety and start having like a panic attack while I'm on my phone. And like that was the first time ever having one like that. And in my head, it's telling me, you have to block this person, and you have to block this person, and you have to block this person, and all this type of stuff. And so I'm like, okay, if I don't block them, or
didn't know what to do. I was thinking that all this was happening was like spiritual, that this was like like you can even see when I come back, I'm talking about how I'm Walt Disney and that, or I'm like Jesus Christ. And I literally, all these voices in my head were telling me all these type of things. They were telling me that like my mom had stolen me at birth and that I wasn't like actually born by her and that I was adopted, or not adopted, but like stolen in the hospital, like all crazy shit. Crazy shit. I had taken a walk down the street from Garden, from like, I'm not saying where I live, saying not saying where I live, but like around the area of Anaheim, all the way to Brenna Park where Knott's Berry Farm is. As I was walking, the scenery behind me started to change. I'm not making this shit up. The scenery looked like basically everything that I was leaving when I was walking, it was like the world was like changing, like I don't know what was going on. Like it was crazy. I know that it sounds bizarre. I know that it sounds like like this is why I couldn't I explained that you have to be there to see it. It was like I was in a simulation and stuff like that. I'm telling you, like, I'm not making this shit up. And so like after that shit happens, I ended up walking down to Newport Beach like the next day, and I'm hearing voices telling me in my head, "Oh, like go keep walking to these houses. Like you're gonna meet Ariana Grande." Because I was watching and Billie Eilish and all these other like celebrities and stuff like that. And I was like, "What?" And so I was walking, and they're like, "Oh, you're like Aladdin and like Ariana Grande's Jasmine." Like it was, dude. I'm not making this shit up. Like I was like going crazy. And so like I walked to these different houses down the street, and and um okay, let me give backstory on like what was going on when I was in, what was like, but those days before I ended up walking down the street and going into this man's house. So I didn't go into this house with weapons or armed or anything. I went into the house because I was thinking I was gonna meet Ariana Grande there. I'm not making this shit up. I'm not making this shit up. So I end up going down the street, walking down this street, and there's like a bunch of like mansions, practically like really really nice houses, and there's like gifts on the porch. Like I'm thinking in my head, oh, this is like some Alice in Wonderland type shit where I have to go and grab like the different things, and as I keep walking, I'll end up getting to where I need to be. And so like I keep walking, I grab like the bag that was on this porch. I go to the house. I go inside because the porch area door was open and no one was in there. No one was in there or making any sounds or any noises. And so I was like walking in there, and there was presents on underneath the tree. And so I started to open some of them because in my head they were telling me that the presents were for me. That I was like going to meet these people. Like I'm not making this shit up. Like it was a psychic attack on my head. And so I go inside there, and and the guy upstairs there. It was a guy and his daughter. They were upstairs the whole time. You could even see on the paper it says that I was arrested for burglary. All I did was walk into the house. All I did was walk into the house, open gifts, but I didn't take anything. They called the cops. The cops came. They kept making promises of days that I would get out of jail and stuff like that. But I ended up being in there during Christmas, during New Year's Eve, during New Year's and everything. And so when I got out, let me go back. While I was in there, I was hearing voices in my head telling me like, oh, like that different friends of mine were like demons and that I shouldn't be friends with them and stuff like that. Like again, I had schizophrenia. And so I ended up basically like leaving the jail cell when I finally got out, thinking that I had to defend myself, that I had to be on guard and stay away from certain people and stuff like that. Because every time I would talk to certain people, I would get major panic attacks and anxiety. And it wasn't in my head saying that, oh, you're having a panic attack, or oh, you're having anxiety. It was just saying that, oh, they're a demon. That's why you're feeling this way. Or oh, there was this and that. And so I even say on my post that, oh, I even posted a bunch of shit talking about this. That's why I'm saying like now I'm not saying that shit because I have medication that I've been taking that's making my hair be back to normal and not hallucinate. I was hallucinating shit. And so after all this shit ends up happening, I go and he's milking. I'm not making this shit up. Like, if you guys don't want to hear the real story of what happened to me, then why would I even go explaining this stuff? The allegations are fake. The account. So that's what I was getting to. I get back on Instagram and I'm hearing that there's a video posted about me, and oh no, actually, okay. When I first get back, I find out this, like that the Twitter thing happened. I didn't know who made the Twitter account. I didn't know who was saying that. I had no way of going back to my messages to find out, because how they were talking, I knew they were talking about something that never happened. So I couldn't prove who it was because I didn't know who was saying some shit like that was fake. And so after that stuff happens, I just like address it on Instagram maybe, I think, and then like I posted like a little video or something. And so after I do this, I end up just like, you know what, I'm not paying any attention to this. Why would anyone believe that I would threaten to rape somebody? And so the next day, or like later on, I go live. And I'm dancing. You can see in the beginning of the video, I'm just performing and doing something I love. I end up thinking that I closed the live and it was still going. That's where the whole allegations of, oh, he was doing kratom come from Murphy and all this other stuff, when all that the bottle was vitamins. I had two bottles like this, and they were vitamins, empty. And so I was still live, not knowing that I was live. I was going to the restroom. I took a bath, came back out, and then I go on my live stream. I'm like smoking something, and they're saying, and then I'm looking, and people are messaging me on Instagram. Hey, like, you're still live. You don't know you're live then, and this and that. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go on the live stream, and I'm like, oh shit. And they said I was live for like 3 hours or something like that. That I never intended. Why would I still go live? Why would I still go live while everything's going, while I'm like taking a bath and shit? Like, why would I do that? And so I was like, this is the meds. This is my medicine, my pill, my pill for schizophrenia. I'm trying to hide my name and shit. Schizophrenia. Look it up. Look up what schizophrenia does. Schizophrenia basically means that you hear voices and you hallucinate things and you can't control the hallucinations. But that started happening to me for the first time ever in my life in December. Olanzapine, I can't really pronounce it right, but it's OLANZAPINE. You can look up what it's like for. So back to what happens after I end up going and seeing the Twitter stuff. I was heated. Most of the time I was thinking in my head, it was telling me shit like, oh, is this happening to you because of spiritual warfare, because of spiritual psychic attacks and all this other stuff. So I was thinking to myself, okay, like, what do I do? Like, it seems like everyone's coming against me, and now I got people making fake stories about me. I was just like, okay, I got to stand up for myself. And the way I stood up for myself, I apologize for that. I apologize for the video I made where I'm yelling and everything like that. But it was out of my character. It was out of me. I was thinking that, like, my life was never going to be the same. And that shit was, that I was going to have to be in, like, some spiritual fight or, like, all this type of shit. I was having so much shit in my head happening to me. And so I was just like, I'm leaving. I just got out of jail, being in that pod for like 2 weeks and stuff. And I come back to this. I come back to someone making a lie saying that I dreaded to rape them. And so after that shit happens, I end up going and I end up going and having something else that ends up happening to me, and I end up going to a rehabilitation from January 15th to January 19th. This, around that time, is when I end up hearing while I'm in the rehabilitation that my live stream was still going on while I was unaware, because I didn't know what was seen in the live stream. Like, I didn't know, like, what happened in the live stream. All I knew was I was still live during that time period. I didn't know if people saw me doing something or saw me this and that. All I knew that it was live for a long time, and I had left it up, but I was like, oh shit, like, they already saw me, like, smoking and shit like that, like, so why delete it? Like, they're just gonna be like, oh, he's hiding that he's smoking. So I kept it up, and ended up going like to downtown Disney. I had a panic attack, ended up in the rehabilitation center, and that's basically when I found out all of that. So as soon as I got out in January 19th, that's when I take down that video. While I was gone, I did not have my phone. You're not allowed to have your phone when you're in the hospital, when you're in jail, when you're in rehabilitation centers. And so I never had my phone. I never could check on anything. I never could be able to know what was going on. I didn't know what other stories people were making up. All I knew was, like, when I got out, I found out that Murphy made the video saying that, oh, he the dark side of AkiraDubs, and saying that I took kratom and this and that. And then 𝒟𝑘𝒹𝑒𝓈. Guys, this lady lives in Canada. She lives in Canada. Why would I make an account and tell her I should have raped you, or I should have done this and that? I never met this lady. I never met this lady. She lives in Canada. I live in the United States. Why would I do that? So I'm gonna make a fake account when I got like 4 other accounts. Make an account, talk about how I'm gonna do something to someone and dreading them, and not think that they could potentially take a screenshot of that and report me, or take a screenshot of that and send it to people. Why would I do something like that? Why would I had way too much in my mind with all this stuff in my schizophrenia and thinking people were demons to do something like that. Like that shit was that shit was literally crazy. You dreading Jasmine, not Felicia. Tell me what I said. Tell me what I said. How did I dreading people? I dreaded them to report them. I never dreaded anyone. I never dreaded anyone in a harmful way to anybody. Those accounts were fake accounts. Y'all are acting like I was here to be able to defend myself. And then when I would come back, I had this problem, this person's problem, this person saying this now, this person is saying this now. I had all these people saying things. I'm just supposed to be able to bounce back from being in jail. And I was trying to come back on here to a safe place, to a safe haven. After having all that stuff happen, I'm like, okay, at least I still got YouTube. At least I still got King Akira and the people on here. I come back on here and all this going on, I'm ready to go off. I'm like, so you got me, so you got all this shit happening in real life, and you're gonna come back on YouTube and Instagram, and people are telling you that you're a predator, and that you dreading this woman that made a fake story, and then made fake accounts pretending to be me, and then sending it to Murphy as if that's proof. You don't even have the username King Akira on the account, and you're just gonna believe her on that. Like, I can't believe that. Like, I can live, like, literally, I can, dude, I was telling people that I could get police involved, and I would do that, because it's ridiculous. Like, you can't be making stories up on fucking YouTube, and then so no one's thinking it's suspicious that now everybody got a story about Akira. Now everybody, I talked to so many people. I had interactions with so many people, and I'm not talking about, oh, I flirted with so many people. I talked to so many people because I responded to nearly everybody. Anyone could say, oh, this is how he interacted with me. Oh, this is what he said to me on a call. Anyone could say that shit. Explain the voice messages. So the voice messages, I ended up sending her and shit like that. Felicia, that's her real name. 𝒟𝑘𝒹𝑒𝓈 Butler. We met because she was a patron of mine. And on Patreon, she would request different audio and then tell me. She would tell me in different. I can't go and screenshot our last conversations and the other conversations that she's not showing, because she blocked me on the account. When I was like, you know what, I'm about to expose this lady for lying, she blocked me on the account, so I can't even go on the account and prove it. You should be asking her to scroll up other conversations and see what we were talking about, because there was like way more conversations. You can't just be like, oh, that's enough proof from her end, when you can't prove that the account that was saying that, oh, threatening and everything was my account. You can't prove everything that she's saying in voice calls. All you have is old text, and you just can't show 1 or 2 texts and then not explain it, and then lie about what was going on. So I can't show any evidence. Tell her to unblock me. Tell her to unblock me, and I'll do the best I can do of showing evidence. Tell 𝒟𝑘𝒹𝒈 unblock King Akira, and I will do the best I can to show the messages of me supporting this woman. She would have mental breakdowns on her account talking about how she's depressed and how things were going on. And I'm not making fun of her or saying, oh, she's lying or anything like that, but I would be there for her during the quarantine and all this type of stuff. There was never any malice, never anything bad about this woman and about our friendship. And honestly, it should have never have ended. The only reason why I blocked her because I had voices in my head telling me she was a demon and everything. That was the only reason why. But I had voices in my head telling me about that with people in real life, that I would walk into Target, I would walk into Walmart and be detecting demons, like all types of stuff like that. And it could have just been that my spiritual awareness was becoming more keen, but I'll prove it. Tell her to unblock me. I'll go and screenshot all of our conversations where I'm supporting this woman. I would never say something like that. I would never say something like that. And if I would have, why are all these people coming out and saying all this shit now? Why wouldn't they just said this when it happened? Why now? Why is that now everybody have a story and no one and everyone's just willingly believing it because they saw a few screenshots that were fake on Twitter and had someone lie and say that shit? So how is their proof any more proof than the proof that I'm saying when it's his story or her story versus mine? It just so happens that everyone's trying to make a story now against one person that talked to everyone. Show us proof she blocked you. I'll show you right now. I can literally show a picture of seeing that I can't look up the name 𝒟𝑘𝒹𝒈 because I'm blocked. So when I was making the video proving that 𝒱𝒾𝒹𝑒𝓈 lied on Twitter, I was going to do the same thing about 𝒟𝑘𝒹𝒈. I say it in the video. Oh, I'm going to go show you the screenshots of my conversations with this woman, but I couldn't do that because she blocked me. So tell her to unblock me. I'll post the screenshots on Instagram. I don't even care. I'll post the screenshots of conversations we had on Instagram, proving that I would never say something like that to her. That would be such a different switch in character. So I'm gonna go from supporting this person and being loving towards them and showing support to them like that, and then now I'm telling them that I want to abuse them or that I want to do this and that, or I should have done this and that when they live in Canada. They live in Canada. I live in the United States. Why would I be talking about someone like that and they live in Canada? I never even met this lady in real life. We're in quarantine. I can't show. So how am I supposed to go and show that she blocked me when I'm live? How am I supposed to go and show that she blocked me when I'm live on my phone? I'm live right now on my phone. I have to take a screenshot and show that I can't look up her name and post it in the community tab. I would literally post a screenshot saying, hey, tell her to unblock me and I will show you the real last conversations that we had. Because if she deletes her messages in the DM, I still have mine. I don't have a different device. I only have my phone. My laptop's gone. I'm supposed to be getting a new one today because it's coming into the mail. I don't have a laptop. It was stolen. I've posted all these things on my community tab and on Patreon. How is that excuses? I had my laptop jacked by this old man while I was out in New Mexico when he was drugging me and shit like that while I was going through schizophrenia. You think if I had my laptop, I would have been making so many songs by now if I had my laptop right now? In Mexico, Albuquerque, all that shit happened. I didn't make any songs in the past few days. What songs are you talking about? I'm talking about making songs and posting it on SoundCloud. If I had my laptop, which I'm gonna get today, if I had my laptop, I wouldn't even be paying attention to all this. I would just be making music because honestly, it's bullshit. All of this is lies. All this is lies. And then when I try to explain it and explain the story, it's, oh, he's lying. Oh, he's making excuses. You want the full story, I'm telling you it. You don't accept that, then that's your problem. That's not my problem. I'm telling you what happened. I have no reason to lie. If I really did these things, I would just say, hey, I messed up. I messed up. I would say I messed up, and it was the reason why I was schizophrenia. I could do that. I could literally say, oh, I texted her that stuff because I was off because I was having schizophrenia. I'm not doing that because I never texted her none of that stuff. I never said any of that. I never made those accounts. You can't say, oh, he did that when these are fake accounts and you can't prove that I was the one who created it on my phone. My story is confusing because the story has so many things that happen. The main story is I didn't do any of this shit these people are talking about. That's the main story. The main story is anyone can come on a video and say that someone did this and that. The main story is anyone can make a screenshot of a fake account that they made of someone else and say it was them. That's the main story. That's the get up. Anyone could do that. Just because all these people are doing it at the same time means they're hopping a bandwagon. They're hopping a bandwagon. Those rumors are, I love you too. Those rumors are fake. They are fake. They are fake. Their evidence of what they call evidence is not even evidence. I never altered any screenshots. How? You said I'm admitting to, and what did I say? I altered screenshots. I'm saying that they are taking fake accounts, impersonating me, and then taking screenshots of the conversation as if I was the one talking to them. Where do I have time to do all of this with everything going on in real life? I was in jail from December 18th to January 6th. Then I end up back in the hospital from January 15th to January 19th. Then I have all these different things happen in New Mexico, basically the whole month. Then I end up in the rehabilitation center, which is when I say the hospital, January 15th, I'm talking about the rehabilitation center because that was really what it was helping me. It was helping me get all the drugs out of my system because the man was giving me drugs. They were trying to figure out what was going on in my head and all of this type of stuff. So much was going on. Where do I have time to make accounts to talk to petty women? To talk to petty women that are lying. That are lying. I was in New Mexico, dude. I've told you guys that I was going through this phase in my head where everyone was a demon. One of the people that didn't seem like they were in my head, that was my voice was telling me they weren't, was the dude Chad Barbie. This guy, Chad Barbie, was 51 years old. I should have never been talking to him. Why would I be talking to this 51-year-old guy? I started talking to him back when I was in jail. That's how we met. We met in jail. He had his phone number of his wife, and I ended up calling her one time, like back when I first got out. And so we ended up hanging out and everything. The dude gave me Xannies, but I didn't know what he was giving me. In my head, he's telling me, oh, because most of my communication became nonverbal. I started to only talk or just listen to whatever I was hearing in my head because I felt like that was the true audio. In my head, it was saying whatever is being said right now in the present time isn't what you should be paying attention to. What you should be paying attention to is what the people are telling you in your head. And so like we're hanging out, and he's giving me like drugs that I've never taken before, making the room look slow and shit. I'm like taking these drugs because I'm thinking I have anxiety, and in my head he's telling me that these drugs are going to help me with my anxiety. And so I end up which it just knocked me out. It would just make me fall asleep. I stayed over at his house like 4 times, and then that's when he was like, "Oh, let's go to Las Vegas and have like a trip out there." We went to Las Vegas. I stayed in a hotel with this man. We left the hotel the next day and went out to New Mexico. The drive was like 6 or 7 hours. We went from Las Vegas to New Mexico. I wasn't thinking about that the situation was weird. I had nothing. I had all this stuff, crazy stuff happening on the internet. I had lost so many friends because I blocked them thinking they were demons and shit like that. I had nothing. This guy was like seeming like the only person that was seeming like he understood what was going on in me, going on with me, but he was just drugging me. And so I ended up go with him to New Mexico. This happened January 2nd that we're in New Mexico. And he ends up like playing I ended up trying to play one of my songs, and he was constantly playing like John Legend music and everything. But I was like always singing in jail, and they always seemed like they like me singing. I ended up trying to play one of my songs. This is where I ended up like waking up to the fact that this guy wasn't a good guy and that he was planning on having ulterior motives. He would fucking hug me and try to kiss me on my freaking side of my like neck and all types of shit. But I was thinking, he told me to call him dad to call him dad instead of calling him Chad. All different types of shit. But I was not thinking in my head, like I was not thinking in my head of what was going on. And so we're in the hotel room. I like go and call my friend Elizabeth, and I'm talking to her about everything that's happened, and I'm not really stating the specific because this guy's telling me that he's in a cartel and the mafia, and that he's like he's like been into jail before the incident, or before the time I saw him in like December and everything. And so I'm thinking like, what do? I can't even name this guy and stuff like that. And so I told Elizabeth my situation. She's like, "You already know what you gotta do, Will. You gotta get out of there, like, because I feel like you're just being too nice and not realizing you gotta get out of that situation because you don't know what this guy could do. He could literally drug you one day and then kill you, or like leave you somewhere in the desert in Santa Fe, and no one would even know what happened to you." And so I ended up using my head and not taking any more of like the drugs that he was giving me. The next day, I end up waking up, we go to get coffee. I try to play one of my music. This is an older white man. This is like an old ass white man. I'm trying to play one of my music. He goes and says that he doesn't want to hear any of that Nigger music. And I literally snapped on his ass because that was the first time that I wasn't like having a crazy anxiety attack, and I was actually having my peace of mind. And I was like, damn, I just got all the proof I needed right there that this dude does not fucking care. And that he was planning ulterior things. We were supposed to leave that morning to Santa Fe. In Santa Fe, there's not much to do. There's not many. That's why I found out, and shit like that. And so I'm like, what was he? I could have potentially been getting trafficked, or potentially been trafficked and stuff like that, and all type of stuff could have happened to me. And so after I got out of that situation and everything, basically I called the cops because he took off with my laptop in the car because I was snapping at him. He took off with my laptop in the car. He took off with about $200 of my money, and then I said that he stole $600 because I wasn't aware that I should never have helped like get a hotel room with my money and shit like that. So he took from me because I shouldn't have never been with that guy and shit like that. He was drugging me, and so he took $200 in cash, took off with my freaking laptop, and so after all that shit happens, I call the cops. The cops come maybe like an hour after this dude already left, and they're asking me, "Well, what happened? What was the details of the situation and stuff like that?" And I'm just like, okay, the guy I even took a picture of his license plate for fuck's sake. I took so much evidence for these people to find him. They never called me back again after that day about what happened. They did not get back to me. This dude was like I would be in the car. This dude would be going 90 on the freeway, freaking drink. He'd be drinking and driving and shit. Like, it was crazy the stuff that this dude was doing. They literally don't care. Like, they did not care. And so after all that stuff happens, I end up like staying at a Motel 6. That's where you see me going live in the last live stream where I'm like in a hotel. That's where I go live and I'm at the Motel 6. You can even see in that live stream, I'm like acting like I'm talking to people and shit. You hear me saying, "Oh, I'm talking to Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, or this people," because in my head I was envisioning or thinking that I was actually seeing them in front of me. Like, I was hallucinating like crazy. And so after that, I'm in Motel 6. I'm staying there. I like I'm not even going to go into all the stuff that happened in Motel 6. So much crazy happened in Motel 6. I'm just trying to explain this story of why I didn't get into everything and basically I didn't know what was going on the internet on February. I didn't know what stories were coming out. I didn't know or what was being said. I didn't know anything like that. I was stuck trying to worry about my freaking life in New Mexico. I was in New Mexico from February 1st, not 1st, 2nd, to February 24th. Valentine's Day, I ended up going into the hospital because I started tripping out again. And that's when I ended up staying at a rehabilitation center, like a real one. And I stayed there for like about 10 days because my mom had to come out to New Mexico from the United States to come get me. And so a lot of shit happened. But after being in that rehabilitation center, my health got way better. I started to feel way more like I got medication that I was able to take, and literally like it's been way more easier for my head to process things and to think rational and to not be and to know, and that's why I was able to like break down different things and going back into the conversation with Jasmine because when I came back, different people were telling me who was telling all the lies and who was making all the accounts and who was making all the Twitter things. And so that's why I was able to know, okay, well, if I show this, if I show that, that should be able to prove different things of that this part being a lie about not even this part, but this person lying about all of it and stuff like that. But that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter what I say about my situation. You weren't there to experience it. None of you were there even when these people are talking all these stories. You weren't even there in that time period of what they're talking about to even know that what they're saying is true. You're believing what they're saying because they have tears in their eyes or because they're making it sound so dramatic, way more dramatic, or way more than what it was, or way more than a situation than it was. It's lies. You're acting like people can't make up lies on the internet. That's why it had my mind warped, and that's why I was so angry back in January, because I'm like, how do you see someone who's making like videos talking about Levi fights your abuser or Hawks stands up against your abuser? I have so many, more than 10 videos about fighting abusers, videos about depression, videos about loneliness. I have songs about these different things, all this type of stuff. And you're telling me that person is the person who made the accounts and would do these things that these women are saying he did. Like I literally can't. It's beyond my mind. It's beyond my mind. I will say that everyone saw a different side of me when it came to me being super angry and talking like that, because I've never shown that side before. But there's no other side of myself that people haven't seen. There's no other side because I've never done or said anything like that to anybody before. I would never do that. I have my mom who was abused sexually and had stuff like that happen to her. And you think I would do that to women? Or I would say that to a woman? And then people are messaging my mom on Facebook, finding my mom on Facebook. These women are finding my mom on Facebook, telling her, oh, your son doesn't want to be friends with me anymore, and I feel betrayed, and I feel like all this and that and all this type of stuff. When you're messaging my mother on Facebook because I don't want to be friends with you when you live in a different state in the United States, when you live in a different country. So I made up all this. So you're telling me I made up everything I just said right now? Why would I make it up? It'd be easier for me to just come out and say I did something than make a whole long autobiography of bullshit that happened to me up. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I waste my time doing that?